Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle, brought to you by Regain. Gordy, I cannot believe they're finally letting the lunatics run this asylum.
It's about time, Dan.
Braith he's got Dally M duties, far more important than what we're going to serve up tonight, so you'll see him a little bit later on. Brett Reid, Mick Carrianas are here right now. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Dan.
Hello, Dan. Congrats on the promotion.
We got a lot to get through because we've got R360 and we've got to find out what it is. Gordy's excited because we've changed the lighting here and he was very excited. It's
Great looking
It's
set.
award-winning
It's
lighting.
almost maroon, almost.
And, of course, they're live on Dally M's, live on Fox League, the Dally M's. And right now, let's send it to Eloise Sawyer and Jake Duke. They are standing by on the green carpet as all the superstars of our game arrive.
Thanks, Dan. We're here at the Dally M Awards for 2025, right here in the green carpet. It's the glitz and the glam for 2025. Plenty of special arrivals already. Teams, including the Broncos, have come down the green carpet. We'll speak to them and their partners. Jake, it is a huge night. There is plenty of top awards up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely, Eloise. We're going to be here on the green carpet giving out a few of them right after NRL 360, including the top try scorers, the top point scorers. Some guys have had terrific seasons both in the NRL and NRLW. And then, of course, we're inside for the main awards. Who's going to take out the top gongs for 2025? James Tedesco, he finished second last year. Can he go one better this year after a terrific year for the Roosters in the women's game? Tamika Upton, she has been absolutely unbelievable for the Broncos, a Broncos team that scored 37 points a game. She's the red hot favourite for the women as well. So it's going to be a great show, great event, and we're going to be joined by a couple of superstars here on the green carpet as well.
We absolutely are. This year in 2025, we have Sean Johnson and Tiana Penatani-Gray right here in the green carpet to add to this wonderful coverage right here on Fox League.
All right. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Smooth. What a smooth cat.
Now I know why he's got the gig. And we're sitting in here.
He looked like... Braith looks like a man born to do that. He was destined to do that.
It looks like he should be at the Oscars.
Can I say, they're looking for a new James Bond, aren't they? There's a touch of Bond about it. Shake him and I'll stir, don't you
Look
think?
at him.
Now, who's going to win this thing?
Oh, look, well, obviously everybody keeps on talking about James Tedesco, but I think there's a couple of smokies. I think Strange from the Raiders, they had a great year. You don't finish first without getting a lot of points. And Reece Walsh, I reckon the last 6 weeks when Adam Reynolds was out, it's fair to say he might have got the 6 points nearly every game, or close to.
What do you reckon, James?
Yeah, I can't go past James Tedesco. I think his form was irresistible for a large chunk of the season. You know, if we're talking about podium finishes from guys on the outside, maybe Blake Brayley. I think he was probably the form player in the second half of the competition. The Sharks went on a bit of a run, but yeah, I think Teddy wins it.
I've got no bolters for you. I just think Teddy wins and wins in a canter, Dan.
It's a pretty good resurrection from where he was a couple of years ago. It seemed like he was on the way down, and he's come back and, you know, up to near his best. Now, let's get into the big story of the day. R360, and this big story, the main story brought to you by the BYD Shark 6. And the NRL, you've got to say, has got to be rocked by this competition now officially getting the green light, Reedy and Mick, because there's a lot of names being floated about. It seems like it's a genuine target. It's almost got shades of Super League about it.
Well, it does, Dan. The only difference is I'd say they're actually trying to work with the major rugby union bodies around the world. Now, they haven't got them on board at the moment, but it's certainly got a sense of that about it because it's backed by private equity, big private equity dollars. You're talking about 12 franchise, eight men, 4 women being set up around the world in cities like Miami and Los Angeles and Lisbon and Paris and places like that, and they'll play a rolling competition in a different spot each week. Initially next year from October 2, it'll be a shortened comp. It'll expand in 27 and 28. And
so this is 15-a-side rugby?
It's 15-a-side rugby, Dan.
Right.
It's 15-a-side rugby. And
it's franchise rugby.
It's franchise rugby.
IPL. It's live golf.
Yeah, basically, yes.
That's the best comparison for
Without the billion people watching it.
That's it.
The IPL without the billion people.
Yeah, but there's going to be multi-million-dollar paydays for the players potentially, right?
So
that's the concern for the game.
So, but I heard that. Yeah, but if they do leave their countries, they're not allowed to play Test rugby again. Is that right?
Well, that's the early word today, that the AAU will not allow them to play Test rugby, and New Zealand won't either, and some of the other major nations won't consider them for Test rugby. So that is being discussed at the moment, but that's something I don't think they've officially worked out
And
yet.
that probably does the league more harm than good,
Yeah.
right? Because the fact that it might open the door for more league players to go who aren't interested or don't believe they could play for the Wallabies, right? Like, so some guys that don't have ambitions to be dual internationals or chase...
But aren't they trying to sell a great product? Well, that means that if you go, and not being rude, but Wendell and like Lottie Takiri made it, but a lot of the guys that go there from league don't shine straight away. So if you're trying to sell this product around the world, don't you want the best rugby guys?
Well, firstly, what money are we talking about here? What's been mooted?
Well, we're talking $1 million a year contracts at US, I believe, and there's also suggestions that there'll be tax breaks because you can domicile yourself in Dubai, where they don't pay. I think the tax rate's nil.
Well,
right?
they made that very clear. They brought out
But when you come home, you pay tax.
They brought out some
only
bullet
for
points of this
6 months a year.
competition, and one of the points in bold was you can live in any country you
Yes,
want, which is translation for live in
Dubai and pay
Bermuda
no
if
tax.
you want.
Yeah, because obviously that would mean you can't spend 6 months a year in Australia, because if you do that, you get taxed under Australian law. But that option is there for them. But even without that, we're talking bigger contracts than blokes traditionally earn the NRL. We're talking $1 million US, I believe they're talking, and a guy like Jai Gray, the talk there is 900 grand. Australian Jai Gray will get to play in R360.
Which he's never going to get in.
Well, he might get
not for a long time.
I understand. That's not
Definitely
meant to be disrespectful.
Well, he's off
but
contract
he's
next
not
year,
in
not in his
that
next
league right
contract.
now.
No.
Right? And they're going to talk about paying their management fees separately as well.
Yeah.
So there's all these things that add up for the players.
All right, so who are we talking here?
Well, the names they've been out there: Pappenhausen, Lomax, Jai Gray, Big Nelson.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
He'd be the first one to go.
Yeah.
Roger will be the first one. Yeah, he's admitted that.
He's off contract, so the only ones that is on contract would be Lomax.
That's the concern, right? The fact that, we're talking Jai Gray, we're talking Roger, those guys have 12 months left on their deals before they expire. Zach Lomax has multiple years left on his contract with Parramatta.
Did I read correctly, Jason Ryles, the Parramatta coach, was actually open to the idea of letting him go? He's contracted till, the end of
2028, yeah. So this isn't come as a surprise to Parramatta, because it's been around for the past, 5 or 6 weeks, read the fact that Parramatta were aware of the potential interest for Zach to go and play R360. They had a conversation about a month ago, and I think they parked it because they wanted to see if this competition would get off the ground. Now it looks like it's going to get off the ground. They'll have some serious conversations, and that's what Jason Ryles was alluded to, the fact that it was mentioned. Jason Ryles said to Buzz that he'd had a conversation with Zach, and Zach said there was an interest there for him. So I guess if it comes to a head now, they have to work out what will happen if Zach does ask for a release, right? Because as you said, he's contracted 2028. They signed him as a marquee player from the Dragons this year, and they want, Jason Ryles says they're open, but they're not pushing Zach Lomax out the door. This would be Zach Lomax's doing, not Parramatta's doing.
Really, you're deep into the Carlin Ponga camp. Mate, do you reckon he'd be a chance?
Well, I mean, Kalen's been linked with rugby. It's been pretty well reported, and I think at some point, he's contracted to the end of 27. He came out and said he was committed to Newcastle in a social media post, but I'd say it wouldn't surprise me if it's on Kalen's radar down the track.
Forget, just for a moment, let's get back to Zach Lomax, because I'm told he is at the Dally M's right now on the green carpet with Eloise Sawyer.
Zach Lomax alongside me. Zach, you're looking very sharp tonight. How nice is it to dress up for the Dally M Awards in 2025?
Yeah, it's always good. It's different to having the footy boots on, but yeah, it's good to get here and see everyone, and it's always a good night.
Plenty of time to reflect on the transition from the Dragons to the Parramatta Eels. How do you sort of sum up 2025 in your new colours?
Yeah, it was unreal, and I loved every minute of it. And obviously we started the season a little bit slower than we would have liked to, but towards the back end we really hit our straps, and yeah, it fills us with a lot of confidence leading into next year.
I have to ask, Zach, there's been talk about this R360 in the media. Is it something that you want to comment now? Is it something that could be in the future? And do you have anything to say on that?
Nah, not at all. I mean, I'm contracted at the Eels for another 3 years, and I love my time there, and it's I'm loving every second of it.
Thanks so much for your time, Zach.
No worries. Thank you.
So his agent also spoke, Zach Lomax, and you can read this in the Courier Mail with Pete Bedell. Zach Lomax contracted to Parramatta until 2028 and will be playing at Parramatta unless the contract situation changes. You can quote me on that. I'm not going to lie. Yes, I've had discussions with R360, but how can you lock into something that isn't even there? So the door's open, clearly.
Well, they're all fair quotes from Clinton Tchaikovsky there, but they also says he's contracted to Parramatta unless that contract situation changes.
Gordy, I'm fascinated with the Lomax side of it because you talk about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. With all due respect, and he's been a champion, but he's nearly at the end.
Paid rugby league back. He's done his dues.
And he's earned his superannuation check. Asafa Solomon is kind of on the outer at Melbourne, so you can understand that one. We'll talk about Pappenhausen in a second because that's interesting too. But Lomax has finally discovered who he is as a footballer. He's playing great football, not just for Parramatta, but for New South Wales. Surely there's an Australian jumper there.
Well, you would think if he can come and put this to bed, he didn't quite put it to bed then in that interview, but if he can put it to bed, there's no doubt the way he's played State of Origin, he would be right in the mix to go away with the Kangaroos. So then it's his decision whether he wants to go chase a dream, whether it's a dream or whether it's money, and I don't begrudge him on that, but if not, I'm pretty sure that the Kangaroo jersey would be right underneath his nose. And I think he's got a lot more to give rugby league and the Parramatta Eels.
Now, I don't want you to be quoted as if you're speaking on behalf of Kevy or the Kangaroos, but I'm asking you, Gordon Tallis, the former Australian captain. Yes, would you pick Lomax?
Absolutely. You watch him in big moments. He hasn't played a lot of footy. Obviously, they'll go play the game up in Papua New Guinea, so you think that he'd be involved in that. But if he comes back in any sort of shape, you would think that he'd be one of the wingers with Xavier Coates, or he'd be right there, for sure.
It's interesting with Tchaikovsky's comments because he's been a pretty common theme in all this, Clinton Tchaikovsky. He's got Lomax, he's got Pappenhausen, he's got Jai Gray. I believe he was involved in the Nelson Sofa Solomona talks. And I've got to say, in Clubland, people aren't happy with Clinton Tchaikovsky because of the fact he's taken a lot of his clients to R360 and spoken to R360. Will Kennedy was offered to R360. Will Kennedy's one of his clients as well, or with his management company. So it's interesting seeing those comments from Chock confirming he's spoken to R360 because, you know, when you ring around about R360 at the moment, there's one name that is common, and it's Clinton Tchaikovsky.
And
I don't think that's gone down.
He played for Queensland.
He did.
But isn't that his job?
Well, you would say it is his job, Dan, yes, but we're talking about a guy named Zach Lomax who's got 3 years left on his deal. And that's, I think, the one that
leave
really...
him out of it.
That's the one that really grinds people because you're talking to R360 about a player who is under contract for 3 more years. And the NRL will be looking at this, Dan. There's a lot of pressure at the moment coming from Clubland to the NRL to look at this, to look at agents' behaviour around this circus that's going on. And I think, as I said, clubs aren't happy about it.
So why do we spend too much time on it? We're a rugby league show talking about rugby union.
Because it's significant.
Because it's going to impact our game.
No other media outlet in the world. So it's not even broken England on players.
That's because Mick's a genius, mate. He's got it before everyone.
Wow.
He's on fire. It's a world exclusive.
So you're not even like... So you beat Bomber Bedell and the rest of the media.
It's a world exclusive for Mick.
It's a big moment if we're having discussions around up to 10 players leaving our game. Right? And back to Ree's point, and your point too, Gordy, the fact that the issue I've got is contractor blokes that would move it on. If you're off contract, you do as you please. You know, you can come back, you can do whatever. You're a free agent, right?
Yes.
But the test is going to be for the NRL and for the clubs. If a contracted player, whether it's Zach or someone else, wants to get out of their deal and how they deal with that.
Do you think we put a clause in, like the rugby union, well, there's no more origin, there's no more rep footy?
I think if you're... All right, if you're in contention for the Kangaroos, right, and you say you're going to break your contract or you want to break your contract to go play rugby, I wouldn't be picking you for Australia or any representative side. If you're off contract, like Mark Nawinga-Tuivasa, no issue if he plays for the Kangaroos at the end of the season.
I think the emotional response today has been ban them all for life. Never let them back in the game. I don't think you can do that because I think...
Not for those that are off contract.
With a guy like Paps and Jai Gray, they're off contract at the end of next year. So if they're going, they're within their rights. But there are some people in Clubland who are saying if anyone goes to R360, you tell them they're not welcome back.
We've said that before, though.
We have said that before.
And it never works.
And I pointed out to someone today, Dan, I said, we take players from rugby as well. So, you know, it does go both ways.
I think I heard that about Sonny Bill Williams. He'll never play now.
Well, and that's...
when you got talent, but when you got his talent...
He's the worst example of someone breaking a contract and we let him back.
And came back
so
on the
what I'm saying is if If we can
Sam
allow
Burgess,
Sonny
Ben
Bill back,
Theo, Wendell Sale,
that's exactly
I think,
right.
Dan, the greater concern
Matt
amongst
Rogers.
clubs is, as I said, player agents and their involvement in this, because agents take a lot of money out of the game. They earn it, right? Because they get a commission on what they get players. But I think the fact that agents who are involved in rugby league are directing players to R360, I think that is a concern for clubs.
We can't get them on NRL.
Now, 24
Too
hours ago,
expensive.
Peter V'landys was saying there's no business case, this is not real, they're going to put the games on YouTube, it's nothing. You spoke to him today.
Yeah. And look, I mean, Pete's still got a view that I want to see the books. I want to see how this is going to work, whether they've got the finances. And I think there is still a... Look, I know they've said today we've got the green light, this is going to go ahead. But I still think there are some questions that need to be answered around it. Where's the money coming from? Have they got enough? Because there's talk they haven't got enough money, and that's why they're only going to start with 6 teams next year. So I think Pete raises some valid points around the finances around this, the viability of it, whether it can survive. And if you go to it, what guarantees are there that you will get the money that you are promised?
It's interesting, next year starts in October. I suspect it's because they can't get players sooner, but then the year after, when the comp starts properly, it's April. That's the plan.
And the other point around that, Dan, as well, is that there's going to be a draft next year for all the players that are contracted during the Origin period. So if you sign, a draft to go play for Madrid or whoever, will happen during our Origin period.
In July.
This to me, right? Okay, we're going to we've made IPL comparisons and with draft and things.
There's
of
a
that
billion
nature.
people in India that love the game of cricket.
And this is my point. This is not IPL. This is Live Golf. No one cares about Live Golf, but it's funny money. The money is in. That's the point. So you can talk about who's going to go to these games, who's going to care about these games. It doesn't
So
seem
it's not
to
for
matter.
the game. So Live Golf doesn't help golf. It helps the golfers.
Indeed.
Would you say?
Well, Liv's modus operandi, one would argue, would have been they wanted a seat at the PGA table, and they thought if they could buy up all the players, and they bought up a fair few, the likes of Rahm, the likes of Koepka, the likes of Mickelson, that eventually it would force the PGA to come to the table, and that would legitimise the Liv people. I don't know if this is Reedy, you're aware of Liv. Does this have the same? What is the purpose of this competition?
I would say the direct comparisons between the two, Dan, are there's a lot of money involved, right? Players are going to get rich, and a bit like Live Golf. Live Golf lacks and Peter V'landys talks about it today. What rugby league's got in this country is tribalism. That's why people go and watch it, because they want to go and see their club. They're invested. They've got an emotional tie to it, right? Live Golf, lacks a bit of emotion. I think this concept's a bit like that. Zach Lomax goes and plays for Madrid, and they play one game a year in Madrid. Who's going to support them?
I think it's actually worse than Live Golf, because golf is such an individual sport.
Yeah.
Right? So you support,
Because I still follow Cam
support
Smith.
individuals,
If Live Golf
right?
was on and I'm watching Cam Smith, I would actually watch him play because he's a
If
Queensland.
they're going to go play for the Madrid,
Matadors.
who cares?
Can I just ask,
Let's make it happen.
do they need a coach?
All right, now you want to talk it
You
up.
know what, Gordy? That'll be the next thing, because they need to fill out their staff.
I
And
tell you
they'll have a
what,
big
I called
checkbook.
rugby on radio about 15 years ago. And, I actually have a contract.
Goodbye, Dan.
Quickly, Pappenhausen. Are Melbourne really resigned to losing him?
Well, I think, do you know what? I don't think they would be that worried. And I'm not talking for Melbourne. I think with the injuries, the way he's played, they've got that young guy just waiting in the wings as well. Suafailonga. So I think they wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, I think they are resigned to him going down. And I'm with Gordy. Look, they really love Ryan, right? He's been a great servant for them.
Absolutely, he has.
But they've got some cap difficulties at the moment. Their cap's very tight, and he would solve a problem for them. And they've got Suafailonga waiting in the wings. So whilst I think they'd be disappointed to see him go, it wouldn't devastate them.
Now, we've had a lot of players delaying contracts or trying to marry things up with expansion teams. In hindsight, have players actually been delaying things perhaps for this thing?
I don't think long-term contracts have sort of come into play. It's probably the guys that have been off contract with their clubs now have delayed it to sit back to see what happens. Jai Gray's a prime example, right? South wanted to get that deal done. They haven't been able to get a deal done because they're sitting back to see what's going on here. So, yeah, I don't think there's been a lot of it. Because
I reckon it'll happen, though. Now that this is apparent, this seems to have got off the ground.
But let me tell you something,
he'll have agents going slow.
rugby in the history, other than Chase and Andrew Johns, right, they only like our wingers and fullbacks. They don't think they're like the other guys can play. Brad Thorne went across there for a challenge and took less money, and he wanted to play for the All Blacks since he was a young kid. Totally different. And then Sonny Bill, what an athlete. But other than that, they've just chased their wingers.
Payne
and
Haas is
fullbacks.
on their radar, Gordy. Pretty handy player.
How many you reckon they'll get?
Mate, he could play 360 minutes in that game.
How many? All right. How many do you think they'll nab?
I think six.
Yeah, mate, I reckon 10's an excessive number. I think they might get 10 over time, but...
Geez, that's not many.
For the first year, I'm saying, I reckon for the first year, about half a dozen.
But
we're not talking 30 to 50 blokes are going to walk out of the game, but you know that we will lose a few top line players to it. There's no doubt about it. And then when we get in expansion and new teams coming in, that's a bit of a concern.
The worry is though, Dan, if this takes off, right, and just say it does get some legs and it gets momentum. Nathan Cleary's old contract at the end of 2027. You know, Bulldog's got the great theory about Nathan going to live in Europe and hang out with Mary
Well,
Fowler.
he won't play R36 because he'll be all around the world.
He could play for Live in Lisbon and hang out with Mary. So, but that's the worry that they don't stop now. They don't stop at these guys. That the money comes in, it gathers momentum, it gains traction. More money comes into the game. Then Nathan Cleary's on their list. Payne Haas is on their list. That's the concern. And I'll tell you what it makes really important in the next broadcast negotiation that Rugby League's doing, because they need to nail that. Peter V'landys needs to get that right, because if he gets that right, our salary cap's going to go up 20 to 30%. So that means our wages are going to go up 20 to 30%, which helps combat this.
Yeah.
Now, Storm and Broncos. I'm getting to the grand final. Storm and Broncos have arrived in Sydney. What's the latest coming out of the camps?
Not a lot yet, Dan. They've sort of arrived in Sydney. Obviously, big fan day at Brisbane this morning. Had 7,000 fans there, but low-key arrival for both sides. And aside from Stefano, it's been a pretty low-key build-up so far.
Yeah, not much to report, Dan. Sorry about this, but...
Just the construction work going on at the Brisbane.
Well, that's been happening for...
I know.
Can you fix up your people at the Brisbane airport? That's been going on
about 3
forever.
years.
There's Peter Bedell and Bomber Bedell.
Nice crowd at the Broncos training
I don't know how many,
session.
what they said, about 6 or
6,000 or 7,000 according to the
people
Bomber.
there. Like the church, so that was good. That was probably the people that couldn't get to the game. They said that was the biggest ticket chasing game, I think, in history.
250,000.
250,000 people chased. That's more than any concert or anything that has been at that stadium.
And you know,
So you've got to do your research.
the game
Bigger than
sold
Taylor
out.
Swift.
bigger than Tay.
This game sold out yesterday, which of course you think a grand final, of course it sells out. That's pretty early for a rugby league grand final that we sell out yesterday.
Do you know what? And that's the product then.
100%.
Everybody's about the six again, and we sit here and we tend to complain all the time, and I'm one of them. But then when you look at where the game's got, like I was a bit bored with the game about 10 years ago. It was like a wrestlathon. The way they've cleaned it up, the way the athletes have come back into it. If you look at that game in Canberra, if you look at the game on Sunday, Dan, like you're calling a lot of these games, you think the product's better?
I don't remember it being as exciting. I don't remember people being as excited.
Yep.
You could pick it apart. You can talk about too many set restarts. You can find things wrong with it if you want to.
But the fans
I just
hate it.
don't remember it being as exciting and unpredictable as it is.
I reckon it also highlights the buzz around the Broncos.
100%.
Haven't won a comp in nearly 20 years.
19.
And Reece Walsh is just an excitement machine, and people want to go and watch him play.
Well, 2015 is the best atmosphere grand final I've been at, and there were no Sydney teams. It was Cowboys, Broncos. And with all due respect to the Cowboys fans,
Are you
who were
going to
great,
Queensland on holidays then?
it was the
Rather than
Broncos.
Bulldogs.
It was the Broncos fans that made that.
Yeah.
And there were 38,000 Queenslanders came down. Obviously, a lot of Cowboys fans
how
as
was
well.
Sunday, Dan? They said so. You've caught Origin up there. I reckon that's one of the greatest atmospheres ever.
I can't remember it being louder. It might have been when Ben Hunt ran away in Origin and scored. That was a pretty loud roar.
Yeah.
When Reynolds kicked that goal, I'd say that was at least the equal. Daytime footy. Now, I need an explanation here, Reedy. Because the normal host of this show, I'm going to give you a chance here, because the normal host of this show absolutely ripped you apart. As Gordy said, he ripped you apart like a hot chook. Reedy's Law. Can you explain this to me, please?
Is this my theory about you need to have to win the comp?
I need it explained.
Okay, to win the comp, Dan,
Yeah.
you need to be in the top four in attack.
Yes.
And it's traditionally, historically, not every year, but historically, top 4 attack, top 4 defence to win the
It
comp.
can't be a law if it's only every now and then.
No, it's historical, Dan. It's a law of probabilities.
All right.
There we go.
Boom, there you go. So that tells you.
Wow.
That's an old photo of
You
me.
forgot to mention you got a law degree as well.
Yeah,
my
I've got
God.
a law degree. So yeah, that says to me.
Wait, my God, he's looking at your photo.
Mate, do you still have that shirt on tonight?
I still got that shirt on.
That's about 2006.
Yeah, it is roughly, yeah.
So, all right, so you got the Storm.
Yep.
I'll help you out. They're in the top 4 of both.
Which tells you they should start this grand final as distinct favourites, Dan.
So Broncos, because their defence is not in the top
Yep.
4, you are officially tonight, Wednesday night, writing them
I
off.
can't do that because I always tip the Broncos. I'm a Broncos man. I went to their first ever game down. I can't write them off, but I would say they need a miracle.
What? So,
I believe in miracles.
okay, so what? So who are you going for?
Brisbane?
Privately, who do you think's going to win?
What do you mean?
Well, Reedy's law.
Privately.
What do you think Reedy's law says?
Listen, I'm just throwing him under the bus.
Yeah.
Mate, because in the green room he goes, I think Melbourne will win. But publicly, I'm going to go for Brisbane.
Oh, God, you
Really?
can't.
No, I can't let
This
you
is
get away with
unbelievable,
it.
Steve.
Mate, see, that's where the part-time Queenslander comes in.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. I had a fear, Gordy. So it was one of the greatest things I've been at on Sunday. But as are all the officials and the
way they carried on
the
a
way they deserved to. It was
Yeah.
that sort of day.
Well, it was the moment.
I feared, is this their grand final? They did it 2 weeks ahead before against Canberra. Melbourne's run has been much easier. Much less dramatic, let's say. How do you assess the
Look, if
runs
you read
coming
into
in?
it, the way Melbourne walked off the field with their press conference, it's still business. They know that it's unfinished. Brisbane, to celebrate that, I don't think it was over the top. I think it was the moment. I think it was the atmosphere. Everybody I spoke to said it's the greatest atmosphere. I think they just went along with the fans. I think they just went along with the ride. I don't think it was over
But
the
it was
top.
a hell of a ride, Gordy. It's
Yeah.
got to take something out of them.
Or it's got to keep them up there.
They did end Penrith Panthers run as well, right? So there's every reason to celebrate. I'm with Gordon. I don't think it's over the top there. Like, if you can't celebrate...
Mick, if you were there, it was totally appropriate.
Yeah.
Totally
Yes.
appropriate. But at the same time,
Yeah.
it's not the grand final yet.
Yeah, but I don't think you sit there and think, oh, they're carrying on too much. They've just won the grand final. And I get Gordy's point's 100% right. Melbourne won't be satisfied unless they lift that trophy, right? Brisbane have had a good year, regardless of the outcome come Sunday night. But yeah, I don't think they're sitting there thinking these scenes are over the top.
5 times, Reedy, they've
Yeah.
come back from 14 or more down to win, which is
Can't keep doing that.
astonishing. I was going to say, if Melbourne's up 14-0, they're in trouble.
Yeah. Like that,
No, you
can't-
said that against Penrith.
They can do it.
you can't keep. At some point, you're going to run out of luck. You're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of.
What they don't run out of is key players that can turn a
Yeah.
game. They've still got them all in there. So I don't think 14 points scares them, regardless of who they're playing against.
Yeah.
Gordy, can you please not listen to my radio call and shove it back in my face? Because you are right. I said at 14-0,
Oh,
the
did you?
game was over.
Oh, did you? No, well, I think it was 98 times.
No one beats Penrith
I think
when
it
they're
was
up
something like
14-0.
98 times or something that Penrith were ahead
Now,
by 12 or more.
That's right.
And never been run down.
Now, you brought up Stefano Utoikamanu and his comments. It's really the only event of the build-up so far. Craig Bellamy finally addressed those comments. Have a look at his response.
Yeah, I really haven't seen too much. You know, I know he made a statement or whatever he did in West Ham, but down here you don't see too much about rugby league. So, but like I said, I'm not quite sure what he said.
I was the one that had to tell Craig, which it was an interesting reaction when I first told Craig.
Might have been a light-hearted thing. I'm not quite sure. But as I said, I didn't see it. We haven't known too much about it this week.
Hang on. Hang on.
But he might not have seen it.
So we got Billy. I didn't
He's
see
been
it.
told of it.
But Frank Panisi's given him up.
No, he said he went and told him, but
Yeah.
Craig said that he hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
So this was Stefano. He's backed it up. Because he made comments that didn't get much traction last week. But he made comments about Fanua Blake. He basically said, leave him to me.
For the first time, I'm loving it. Like when Reece Walsh last week, right, when they were talking to, because it's he versus Cleary, right? And he goes, what about Nathan Cleary? He goes, well, what about us?
good
Or
was
what
that?
about me? That's cool, right?
Yeah.
He didn't get shot down for it. And that helped build the game. With Stefano, like, mate, a lot of the players become cardboard cutouts because when they say something, we go, oh, and then
Yeah.
I just saw it there. Mate, he said it. I love the way he said it. He put himself on show. He doesn't put his teammates. He's the one that's got to run into Payne and Paddy Carrigan and those boys, and I'm sure he'll do it.
Those comments I know weren't directed at Payne Haas.
How do you know?
Because I know, Gordy, I've done some digging.
What sort of
They
digging?
definitely with a shovel.
A pick or a shovel there?
Yeah.
Just making
With
sure.
a phone, Gordy. They definitely weren't directed at Payne Haas. But his battle with
Oh,
Payne
so he's
Haas...
backtracking now.
No, I'm not. No,
You're going to name names?
No, I'm not going to name names, but it wasn't Payne Haas. But it's but I'm sure his battle with Payne
You're
Haas.
leaving us hanging there, really.
I know. His battle with Payne. Yeah, you'll guess. His battle with Payne Haas is going to be crucial. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? Because he has been phenomenal since Origin.
Is the player he's talking about wear a number that's less than 2?
Dan, I can't.
Oh, you caught it, really.
Stick around. We got more. We'll talk about Ezra Mam and a few other things. And tomorrow night, following NRL 360, yes, NRL 360 is back again, and Braith is back as well. But after 360, it's finals footy with Matty Johns and special guest Sean Johnson.
Position, 37 metres out, right in front, this time off the post! Off the post! My goodness! Canberra come back with a ball! We have seen it all, and now we're seeing even more! And Strange! He is away for the Raiders! Support in Wakes! That is the most remarkable rugby league moment in the most remarkable rugby league season! In the most remarkable sport that has played on this planet. It will forever be remembered as the miracle in Mudgee.
Indeed, and the first Dally M of the night goes to the miracle in Mudgee, the Peter Frelingos headline moment, and very hard to argue. That was you knew at the time we're going to be talking about this not just for the next few weeks, but for years.
Unbelievable. I was sitting at home on the couch and the kids who are mainly Broncos fans just jumped up. I've got the oldest boy. He's been a Raiders member since he was 15. Since he was 6, so for 15 years. But this was a moment, a moment. And for the country fan, you know, rugby league struggles in the country, so what a great moment.
Yeah, I was like Gordy. I was on the couch today. I was probably 2 wines in, and it was one of the great
bottles or glasses.
That would be curtains for you.
I was battling. I was getting sleepy, but that kept me awake.
A very worthy number one, no question. And I think if you gave most people a vote, they'd vote. But you know, one that I thought would give it a run, because it was a while ago now, you kind of forget, but Cam Munster, the week he had in Queensland camp, game 3, coming back, like, you knew...
Mate, there's been 20, like, Reynolds was good. Like, there's been so many different moments. But this is like this here, right? This week, I could not imagine. I couldn't, and I don't want to put myself in his footsteps.
So his dad passes away. He goes, obviously, with his family, and then comes back. There were doubts whether he was going to play. No doubt for him, he was always going to play. It was one of those moments, Gordy, as a spell was calling for radio, but watching, you looked at his face walking out that tunnel and you thought, they are not going to lose this game tonight.
As captain as well. You know, like a huge effort and one that we'll talk about. You know, you talk about the miracle of Mudgee. This Cam Munster performance is something that we'll talk about for years to come.
You know what? Pretty fair personal season. If he wins the comp, leading Queensland and then a premiership, and he's been spectacular this year for Melbourne Storm. We're into Cam Smith. Cam Smith did it 1 year.
Yeah.
We're into the sort of that territory. And they're a beautiful picture there with Billy Slater as it all drained out of him. Now, barely a 360 week goes by without our man Bulldog Richie providing some great fodder. He said the Penrith dynasty is done. Firstly, we all have to agree what a dynasty is. That's the first thing. But then, is he right?
It's a Chinese restaurant at home in Townsville.
Well, I think his version of a dynasty was maintaining a streak. But I don't see that as a dynasty. I think it's a dynasty. Dynasty's a period of excellence where, yes, you win premierships, and it probably starts and ends with a premiership. But if you win 5 in 7 years, and the 7th year you win your 5th one, that's a dynasty for me.
Yeah, I said last night when Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo retire.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. The streak's dead, right? The
Yes. It's just
dynasty's
end of
not.
a- yeah,
The streak's dead. That's all it is. The dynasty still lives on for as long as...
No, the dynasty now, until it starts again.
But it's not
What do you mean?
stopped.
Well, it's on pause.
It's on pause, yeah.
Because it could, it may have ended. We don't know.
It may have ended, correct.
But if they win the next year, well, then the dynasty is 5 and 6.
Yeah, so it's on pause.
It's on pause.
But if they go on, if Nathan goes on to win another 2 or 3,
Yeah, it's all included. It's all inclusive of Nathan's career and Isaiah's career and Dylan's career and Liam Martin's.
I love that they took offence. That the very idea that the dynasty, they took offence.
Yeah, oh, it'll be up on
You
their
know
wall.
straight away,
Yeah.
that's their spark for next
Yeah.
year. You got the sense, Gordy, this year.
if you
they
sneeze, Penrith get a cold. Like, that's how much they take it on board.
Did you got the sense this year they almost needed to have that bad start of the season to give them something to strive for, and look how far it got them, despite Reedy completely writing them off and correctly.
Well, I was
Brisbane
right, Dan. Thanks.
just.
They were in the top 4 attack and defence as well, I think, so they could have won it if they got to the
Were
grand
you
final.
worried? Be honest. 14-0.
Yes.
Hadn't lost 14 up in 6 years. Were you just a little worried that, again, you were going to be cannon fodder for Braith and Co on the Monday night?
Yes, I was. Right. I was in the.
That's how he spends every weekend.
Dan, I was
doubled up his bet.
I was in the fetal position on the couch. My wife she was patting me, trying to calm me down. I was in all sorts of trouble.
Was that 3 wines in? Up next, Legends Agenda. Justin Hodges and Dale Finucane, couple of premiership winners. They're coming up right after this. NRL 360. Welcome back, NRL 360, and time for the Legends Agenda. Couple of greats, Gordy. 10 grand finals between them. Justin Hodges, Dale Finucane. Not bad talent here on Fox League.
I think he won it as a fullback too, Jay.
I did.
In
06, I played fullback for probably the last 5 games of the season. Kay broke a bone in his foot and I ended up playing fullback.
I don't think they were going to win it. Wayne moved Berrigan, I think, to number 9 and Hodjo back to fullback, and it just sharpened the
They
Broncos
did that.
up a
Plus,
little
and
bit.
then they had Barrow defending out in the centre, so it became a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. Then David Staggs was defending in the middle, so it was a bit of a jigsaw puzzle to figure out.
You blokes, neither of you, would believe that would be the last one. Surely. 19, this great club. How many premierships? 6 premierships
Don't bring
in the
up
first
15
19.
with him. Mate, he hasn't spoken to Jonathan.
But
No,
what
I
was
was
it,
gone by then.
6 in the first 19,
Yeah.
none in the next 19. That's inconceivable, Hodger.
Oh, look, it is, and obviously, Brisbane's is always a proud club. And look, I think it's been a long time since we won the grand final. Obviously, we got very close in 2015. The boys got close a couple of years ago as well. But not to deliver Brisbane a grand final since 06. It's a big drought, mate.
Craig Bellamy, 11 grand finals. What makes him so great and consistent?
Oh, it's unheard of. When I heard he broke the record, to beat Wayne's record, I'm not surprised by it, obviously, as well. I think the biggest thing with Craig is just consistency, and that starts in pre-season. He always talks about players, that you can't have a good season without having a good pre-season. That's obviously starts with the army camps, it starts with the work program, and it filters through from the top down. The first thing you see when you walk into the club is Craig flogging himself on a roller or boxing, or so. When you see that, and it's something you want to do, you want to play for your coach. So it's sort of a top-down approach, and it filters right through the organisation.
Good old army camps, how good are they?
Well, we've heard, how many stories have we heard about Craig Bellamy, what he puts them through, makes them work for, he made you work for a couple of weeks?
Do you know what? There's a lot of boys who don't know this, but I actually escaped the work program, so I was I signed it. I signed a bit later on in the club, and it's always sort of when the new boys come through, so I slipped under the radar and I didn't do the work program. I did do the army camp, which was a 3-day gruel, but...
I know what Melbourne mean to Brisbane when we go play. Like when they first got built, Lazo, John Rebo, Chris Johns, like a lot of the Broncos, big names and originals went there to help start. What does it mean for Melbourne when they come up against Brisbane?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, we've been asked a little bit about, is there a rivalry there? Because obviously that's where Craig began his career in
Ballyoak as well.
Obviously, he's had some other mentors in Tim Sheens as well. But you look at the current crop of coaches now that he's coached, like he's had Jason Ryles, obviously Maguire as well, Adam O'Brien. Like there's so many different people that he's mentored and coached as well. So it's kind of, add Ricky Stewart into the mix as well, someone who he played with, who also has a great rivalry with as well. But, he's done so well. And you spoke about the 11 the 11 grand finals that he's played in the course of his career. And, this is his 23rd year as a head coach, and it's 50% rate almost.
I was actually glad to see him leave the Broncos. He used to get up me for being in the fat squad. He used to flog us. He called me one time. We played a trial match in Toowoomba, and Lottie gave me up. Lottie goes, he's in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom eating a kick. He's walked in and just gave me a spray. But he was so fit. He used to run with us as well. And obviously we used to be at the back, and he used to run the front to the back.
Well, there's still stories of him where they used to run the tan track down in Melbourne. And obviously Bells would have been in, his 50s or whatever it was by then. And Billy tells stories about how he was in the fittest group and running and winning those. So it's like, as a 50-year-old, and now he's...
How important is that? I find this fascinating because Wayne could run as well.
Yeah, mate, that's what Wayne used to do. Like the Gap Reservoir, 8.5 k's through, Wayne would run it when he was 50 and he'd win it. Like he'd be, Kevin Walters holds the record out there, but Wayne would be in the big group, fastest group. No, you won't.
But is it easier to take direction... when that authority can actually talk the talk?
Yeah, I think because you've got so much respect for someone. So rather than somebody telling you to do something, when they're doing it themselves and they're flogging themselves, then you immediately got that respect. So when they ask you to do something, you understand that they're not asking you to do something that they wouldn't do themselves.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Is there a rivalry, Broncos-Melbourne? There've always been good matches over the years. Is there anything special, different about when these two get together?
There is. Obviously, we spoke about Craig, and it goes back to when Billy and Smithy, they said they were overlooked by the Broncos back at those times. So there always was. Every time we played them, we knew there was a little bit extra feeling. And I was just telling the folks before, we had to be on our game. If we weren't on our game, Melbourne would always towel us up. It's just that rivalry was always there. There's no doubt about that. They hated us, we hated them as well, and they were just too good for us sometimes.
Will fatigue play a part? With the Broncos, 7-day turnaround, Canberra Raiders into Penrith. Melbourne, there's no such thing as an easy finals game, but it's slightly easier.
I was talking to Hodjo about it before, and I'm a little bit indifferent on it. I don't necessarily think that the 9-day turnaround is always an advantage because, traditionally when you have those longer turnarounds, you get an opportunity to get a fair bit of work done early in the week. So generally your 2 days post-games recovery, and then you'll have a big session. Whereas I almost sometimes preferred those sort of 5-6 day turnarounds because it was more about recovery and getting your body ready for the game. So, I know that the Broncos have obviously had a tough game against the Raiders. They obviously 2 weeks between games. So they obviously had a little bit of time to recover between those. So I don't read too much into the recovery. And I know Hodjo was talking to me before backstage about, potentially if there was injuries, that may play a factor in it. But, everyone seems to be going into the game quite fit. Yeah. So I don't think it's really an issue.
I don't think so. I think just on the back of that, I think sometimes if you've got 9 days, you can think about the game too long too. So at least if you've got 7 days, you're coming off 2 or 3 days to get your body recovered, all that stuff, and then straight away you're back in Sydney, you're ready to go again. So I think the 9 days, 7 days is not going to play effect.
And I've got to say, being there, we were talking all day about how hot it wasn't that hot.
Yeah.
Once the ground is covered in shadow, it was absolutely perfect. Now, forgive me, Hodjo, I'm going to bring up 2015.
Of course
only in this context.
Just for you.
These finals have been about redemption for Brisbane. Reynolds here from 2021. Those demons. The Broncos knocking off Penrith, righting the wrong for them of 2 years ago. There's only one left, really, and that's Ben Hunt. He returns to the scene of 2015. You played in that game. How scarred do you think he was coming out of that? He's had a hell of a career. Let's not kid around here. Yeah. But how scarred do you think he was? And it's got to be on his mind coming into this.
Look, 100% it scarred him, obviously, because it means so much to him. It means so much to every player. But I always put it back to, obviously, this guy here, Milf and Honey. We wouldn't have been in that situation. We wouldn't have been in the grand final if it wasn't those two men. I thought those two guys played their best football I've seen all year. But to me, Honey should have never been in that situation. We should have had that game iced, game over, ready to go, ready to celebrate. But you look at what happened before that. There's a couple of missed tackles, a couple of, Milf had the ball, they got stripped. I still got it in my head over and over again. But the reason why I went up to this young man, because I even said to him that it wasn't his fault. We should have never ever put him in that situation, because everyone remembers that, but they don't remember that Jack Reed and Corey Oates missed a tackle on the edge that led to Kyle Phelps' try, where
Corey
close.
Oates didn't come in, did he?
Oh, well,
I mean,
Winger's coming in again, but...
I think I might have turned up on their Mad Monday. I was still giving it to him about 3 days later.
And it hurts. So, look, I hope Honey comes out on Sunday, has a wonderful game and wins it, because I think he deserves it, mate. I think
he had a moment in Canberra too when he hit that field goal. That was
did.
Yeah, I mean, like...
That's true.
You can't always get redemption in our game. There's no fairy tale. So, mate, what about Big Stefano having a crack?
Good on him.
Do we like it? Yeah, I mean, like you guys are the...
Yeah, I got no problem with it. Obviously, I played with, Ronaldo Mulatalo, who's renowned for sort of putting those...
The mouth from the south.
Yeah. I mean, for putting those challenges out there. And, I think, some players, obviously Ronaldo, he'll put it out there because then the onus is on him to back it up. Obviously all eyes, as a spectacle, all eyes are going to be on Stefano now, and they're going to be looking at the middle battle that he has with Carrigan and with Huss. So I think it adds to the spectacle, but it also puts the onus and the pressure back on him to deliver on what he said.
Well, because most players think it, Dan. So most players think, I'm going to get them, but they just don't say it. I just think that was his inner voice coming out.
I was going to say, but I actually applaud him for doing it. I think there's probably not enough in our game that actually do it.
Nowhere near it.
You're like, to come out and say what he said, like that's his opinion. He's entitled to his opinion.
He didn't say anything that bad.
He didn't say anything bad, no. But at the end of the day, now he's got to turn up and do his job. Otherwise, yes, it's going to look stupid on him. But I think, like even when we were playing, we always thought, don't give the opposition any fuel. It's like, well, if you need someone to fuel you to play in a big game, well, you shouldn't be out there in the first place.
It would always be like a bit of a conversation around coaches around don't give any fuel, don't fuel them, don't motivate them in any way. But
you should be fueled anyway.
Yeah,
like it's pointless.
Yeah.
We've got about 45 seconds left. Imagine you're playing for this Broncos team, you Melbourne. Who's the one player you have to stop from the opposition?
For me, I think Harry Grant. I was talking to Cooper Johns about this actually today, and I was talking about watching Cameron play when I was injured, and just the fact that he makes the right decision every time. He's got 3 key position players around him demanding the ball, and he's got to make the right decision to where it goes. And couple that with the fact that he's in the washing machine, he's made 40 tackles by the end of the game. He's got to make all the decisions. So I think for me, if a Storm were to win, it's going to be through Harry Grant.
I'm going to go Payne Haas. I think what he's been able to do. I think not enough credit goes to our middlemen. Obviously, the outside backs get a lot of glory, but if Payne Haas does what he did last week, did against Canberra, he kept us in the game till we got our act together. So, mate, good luck stopping him. He's just one of the biggest humans I've ever seen. But look, I hope he goes out there and has the best game, and the Broncos come away with the premiership. We need one.
You said it. You said it, Justin Hodges. Thank you very much. You two. They're very good at this, aren't they, these two?
It's like they come in prepared.
We'll take a break. And, of course, don't forget the reason Brace not here is because he's hosting the Dally M Awards, which is coming up as soon as we are done here at 360. It is next, live and exclusive on Foxley.